Tonight, we're looking into the rise of fake news, which, as we know from the recent Southport riots, can have a big impact on people's behaviour.
But behind the scenes, a secret tech team is fighting back, and we've sent the BBC's disinformation and social media correspondent, Mariana Spring, to find out how it all works.
I've seen firsthand how quickly misinformation can spread across social media. Misinformation, false claims on social media have been accused of fueling riots in the UK. In the wake of the Southport attacks in July, false rumours were spread on social media about the perpetrator, which helped fuel racism and anti-immigration violence that rapidly got out of hand. In Liverpool, the Spello Library was torched by rioters with hundreds of books destroyed.
There'd been quite a bit on social media about how books had been replaced with copies of the Quran, and I just think it's misinformation that's being spread. And obviously people could fact check that, but going in and burning down a library based on something that was completely untrue, it is just so mindless.
But there are organisations like the UN-backed Tech Against Terror working behind the scenes to identify the type of social media posts that could lead to violence like this before alerting the police and the companies themselves to help stop it in its tracks. And today, we've been given exclusive access. I spend a lot of my time investigating what's being shared on social media, but I've never been inside a place like this, where people are monitoring some of the most extreme content that's being posted online. And actually, cameras aren't normally allowed in here, so we've been given very strict instructions about what we can and can't show. Adam Hadley runs the operation.
Routinely, we'll be monitoring thousands of channels across different platforms. We monitor some of the darker parts of the internet, trying to understand how violent extremists and terrorists are sharing material and working to radicalize people. Often they'll use keywords or symbols or imagery.
Adam shows me some recent examples.
This is far-right material that's been produced by generative AI. This particular person sharing this material has also been sharing neo-Nazi material and has also been inciting violence.
Once content like this has been identified, they then flag it to the relevant platform.
We work with more than 130 platforms overall, and we have trusted flagger status with them. So one of our analysts, once they've found material, can add it to the terrorist content analytics platform, and then within a few seconds, a report will be sent to that platform.
You've got this sort of drop-down list. What are those different categories?
When there's threat to life, for example, we'll first report to the police, and we won't report it to the platform because we want to give the police enough time to investigate.
Social media was designed in part to inform us. So how much do we trust what we see posted online?
There's a lot of people out there exaggerating things and spreading negativity, and I know that now, but at the time I was in this heightened state of emotions that, yeah, I was believing everything I was seeing.
I think people follow like their emotional response and then don't realise this is just what someone's put out there, it's not fact.
Tackling misinformation online raises issues around freedom of speech. There are growing calls for the government to implement tougher sanctions for social media firms that allow misinformation to spread on their sites, especially posts that could lead to violence. Jonathan Hall, KC, is the UK's independent reviewer of terrorism legislation.
How easy or difficult is it for the law to deal with disinformation?
There are limits to what the law can do. At the moment, there's something called the Online Safety Act, which has been passed, is not yet in force. And that will put safety duties on the companies. It says, for example, you've got a duty to minimise and to remove terrorism content. But fundamentally, there will be lies on the internet because we allow people to say what they want.
Many platforms deserve credit for the efforts that they go to have this content detected and removed. But unfortunately, we're seeing a few platforms deliberately trying to amplify content, and that's really challenging to deal with.
From my work, I know just how quickly disinformation and hate can spread on social media. And now it seems more people than ever are aware of the real-world consequences that can have.
Trying to stop that content getting out of hand may be a challenge, but there are growing efforts like this to tackle that head-on.